Welcome back to the Extra Rep Podcast, guys. I'm Josh.
I'm Liam.
So today I thought it'd be really good if both of us went through what our current training split routine is like, to give you guys just a bit of an insight into like sort of our goals, each of our goals, what we're doing with our training, and sort of explaining the nuance behind why we're doing things as well. Obviously, you coach yourself at the moment.
Yes.
So I've got a coach, Coach David Marsh. If you guys want to have a look at him, really good. So to, I guess, segue into this is the reason I hired Dave was obviously to get nice and big and jacked, but mainly it was around injuries. So had a fair few injuries recently, and it's just got to the point where something can't move without something else hurting. So we've been working with him to just obviously fix some issues, fix some stability stuff, and now we're really getting more into the nitty gritty of sort of being able to go in and lift heavy. In terms of like phases that we've sort of gone through, I think what we do is like a movement sort of restoration phase, or they call it like a structural backloading. So we were just finding out, where was I really tight, where was I really loose. So you talk about agonist and antagonist muscles, like we say, like the quad and the hamstring. When one shortens, one lengthens. So it was about finding, what's tight, what's not moving, and then what's got, I guess, more length in it, and then just sort of being able to find that middle ground, pull things back, and just move well again. I think was the main thing, because I was moving, like a tin man.
Gotcha.
What are your sort of goals at the moment?
So my goals at the moment, same thing, hit my natural peak, just get as jacked as possible while staying as lean as possible. That is as simple as it gets for me. And that includes getting as strong as possible.
Yeah. I think it'd be good to go through like your training routine, because like it's obviously very simplistic and basic, but it's actually based on principles. It's
super complex in terms of the muscle physiology, but on paper, it's like I've simplified it as much as possible. And there's a reason, because if I want to be spending all day hitting each part of the quad and the hammy and all that stuff, like it just doesn't work for me. Like I just want to get in the gym, lift heavy and get out. Like we're all busy, right? So I had to find a structure that works for me and my body. And this is the thing, right? Like through 11, 12 years of training my own body, I understand how my body responds, what muscle groups are lagging, what needs to be brought up, what needs more volume, what needs less volume, what needs more prioritization. So I really had to do a lot of deep thinking there. Now, I will give a shout out to Jake Dollarshell, because a lot of my programming is based on a lot of the concepts that he taught me when he was mentoring me. So I did used to have a coach. I've actually had multiple coaches, but his really opened my eyes, mainly just purely through the results that I was getting. And it wasn't just the results I was getting. I'd never had as many compliments from other people noticing. So that's always a good sign that your program's working, when other people are actually making comments. Like, side tangent, you just posted on your story that one of your clients checked in and she's like, hey, or maybe it was a guy, I don't know. I was just reading the text, so it was male or female. But they said that, other people are noticing, like, my results. And it's a very fulfilling thing that you're on the right path. But for mine, I'm currently doing a full body A, full body B split. So how that works is I do full body A twice in 1 week, and then the next week I do full body B twice in 1 week. So I'm doing weights Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 3 full body sessions. It's designed so I've got my maximum amount of recoverable volume, which I've tracked. So I'm doing 2 working sets, each muscle group, with a range of about 5 to 7 rep range. I rest for about 90 seconds to 2 minutes between those working sets, and I do 1 to 2 warm-up sets building to each of them. Do you want me to give an example of the day?
Yeah, like can you give us just an example?
So something that I've always struggled with is arm growth. Like whatever my genetics are, my chest, shoulders, back always grew way quicker than my arms. So it always looked funny to me to have skinny arms, but like a wide shoulders, chest, back. So I've really had to bring up and prioritize my arms, and funnily enough, volume didn't do it for me. But turns out actually doing certain exercises, specifically going for motor unit recruitment through unilateral, that means single arm exercises, I start off with arms first in my sessions, and I go heavy. Don't be afraid to go heavy with your arms within 5 to 7 reps. You don't have to do, 3 sets of 12 of bicep curls. So for my first session and first working set, it's going to be a unilateral cable curl. and I use that with wrist cuffs. Then I go into triceps right after, and then I just do some stable form of push downs. I'm currently doing the Polican press with just an incline bench, so getting really strong on that. Then I move on to weighted pull-ups. So I'll usually use just a lat pull-down machine to just start warming it up there instead of doing bodyweight pull-ups, and then just get the weight belt and then just go from there. Then I do a seated behind the neck Smith machine barbell press. Then I do it's like right after that, I just jump on the Smith machine still, just while I'm there. And this is the thing, right? This is why I programmed it this way, just from pure convenience, so I'm not moving around too much in the gym. And then I go straight into Smith machine squats. I find just for hitting the quads, glutes, hammies, everything, no lower back pain, no niggles or anything, like the stabilization of the Smith machine really helps me. And then I go into a mechanical chest press, because chest is literally the last really muscle group that I feel in my physique need to prioritize. So I put it at the end when performance, I'm a bit more fatigued and that's probably going to sacrifice. But I'm still hitting PBs in it every single week.
Yeah.
So that's just a full body day one session. Now, that doesn't mean the other 4 days of the week I'm not doing anything. I am still on the Stairmaster in between those days, but here's the thing, I'm not on level 11 going to 180 beats per minute. I'm just doing 30 minutes, nasal breathing. I've been using the nasal straps. I've just been leaving them on since from the sleep the night before, because I do my cardio first thing in the morning. And I just make sure it's on a light level. I'm just nasal breathing. I just watch a YouTube video while I'm just on the machine, and I make sure my heart rate doesn't go above 140 BPM. And it's like a form of not only VO2 max training, because I'm trying to increase my lung capacity, but it's also promoting recovery, and a cardiovascular system that increases as well actually dictates in correlation to my training and strength training, because there's less cardiovascular demand when I'm starting to get really heavy on certain exercises. So for me, I'm technically training 6 days a week, but I'm really only training 3 days a week of like balls to the wall in the actual weightlifting sense and resistance training. And it's all measured, all tracked. And then I've got, say, 1 day off completely, being the Sunday.
Yeah, interesting. I think it's funny how people could take a lot out of that by just thinking, how you're prioritizing muscle groups. So I think, like you're talking about with that motor unit recruitment, it's a really big thing. If you've got something that's lagging, and normally for people, what is it? It's it's arms, it's calves, it's little things, glutes. It's something they'll never start with, right?
Yeah.
They'll start with a big compound or something, and there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. But once you get to a certain level, you're going to have to think okay, prioritize arms, etc. And like you said, unilateral can be really, really good in terms of motor unit recruitment. And then, like I said, then you move to the the bilateral double arm stuff as well, which I think is a really, really good play when it comes to programming, and you leave enough recovery in between as well. So
the biggest thing I had to learn was recovery, right?
Yeah.
And we speak about, prioritizing muscle groups and volume and stuff. When we want to prioritize arms, we think of doing 4 sets of 15 at the end of a workout to get the pump and, just blast your arms. Muscle growth doesn't work like that, guys. And it took me 11 years to figure that out.
Yeah. And it is funny because obviously it's going to be, specific to potentially an exercise. It's are you going to do a heavy set of 3 on a leg extension? It's fuck no. Your knees are probably going to pop out, right?
One working set.
Exactly right. But you will be surprised depending on the exercise, how far you could get. And again, it's going to go down to the person, right? A person with 5 years of experience might be able to hit a 6 to 8 rep on a dumbbell lateral raise, whereas in someone who's just come to the gym, they're not going to get anything out of that in that 6 to 8 rep range. So it is really important to understand, the nuances behind programming, but we're just giving you these to sort of get you to understand why we're doing what we're doing as well. So Liam's got his 3 weights, full body, he's got his 3 cardio. And again, think that cardio is obviously going to get him to a position where if he's fitter, he can recover between sets much better, and you're going to able to get the blood going around the muscle. Can go into those fat cells, potentially pull them out, potentially get more muscle, all those sort of things as well, which sort of segues into almost what I'm doing as well.
Well, I should just quickly mention, because I'm doing full body A and full body B, it means I'm doing 2 of the exact same workouts throughout the week, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of people will be like, what? You can't do the same exercise twice in 1 week. It's well, if you check my results, and I've gone heavier. Yes, you can. And this is what came into strategic programming for me, right? I know what exercises I enjoy, what feel the best, what I'm more motivated to go in and do, and what feel the best for me. That actually makes it optimal in itself, because your enjoyment of the exercises will promote motor unit recruitment. If I really enjoy Smith machine squats, even though unilateral Bulgarian split squat might be better for stabilization, right, holding onto the racks, I will still get more benefit out of the Smith machine squats purely from an enjoyment standpoint.
Yeah, and this is the thing with, like, you know, you've seen all these teenagers on TikTok with, you know, 16 bands and recruiting like half reps of like their tricep extensions. Like, it's just getting a bit too crazy, you know, in terms of like, oh, if I hold something in this hand while I'm doing this, I'm going to increase more motor unit recruitment, right? There is a level it gets to where it's like, okay, you just need to find something you enjoy, you need to progress, you need to hit it hard, and that's when you're going to get the best results. It's like that bell curve of, you know, not knowing what you're doing well, and then you're going back to that, like, trying to hit, you know, stupid points of your 6th division of your lat. So I think you just need to find a well-rounded program that obviously you enjoy, number one, you can progress on number two, and the number three obviously shows, you know, so it shows results in terms of your volume as well. But going back to sort of what I'm doing at the moment is we have just moved from like a very sort of similar to what you're doing. Like I was doing a push-pull and then rest day, push-pull. So I was doing 4 days a week. And then I was doing a couple of cardio on top of that. So I'm starting to bulk up now. So we're just going to slowly bulk up until the end of the year, where I'm then going to diet down for a photo shoot before I go to Europe. But what I'm doing is obviously trying to put as much muscle tissue on as possible, whilst we're also working around these injuries to sort of hit certain areas and make sure that, you know, stabilization-wise in certain areas, that's where I find I'm struggling, especially around like the hip and groin and all that sort of thing. So, you know, we've got obviously a lot of big, you know, still trap bar deadlifts, still doing like big compound movements, but also a lot of like, you know, Cossack squats, holding in range positions, doing ISO holds for certain things, because that's actually, you know, going to drive more volume into that muscle as well. And just, you know, getting you into those areas where, you know, if my lower back hurts during a deadlift, the more time I can spend in the point where it might hurt, as an example, and the more time you can expose gradually the muscles to that, the better they're going to get to a position where, of course, you know, you're not going to get any pain anymore. But I do the same thing Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I'll do 2 conditioning sessions a week. So basically, I've got Monday sort of strength. There's a lot of actually. Let me pick it up here. It's just going to be a bit easier if I can just quickly.
While you're finding that, could you explain to the people, let's say you're doing a push-pull split, where do Cossack squats and all these things come into play there? Because when you say push-pull, everyone just thinks of chest, triceps, shoulders as push, and then they think of pull as back, rear delts, biceps. And look, they don't think about legs at all.
So like when we think about legs, you know, generally in pull, you're going to be more of like your glutes and hamstrings. And look, you can put abductors in there as well, and then maybe with push you're thinking more obviously your quads and your adductors, and you can obviously add calves sort of wherever you want around there as well. So I think it is good. Like I've gone now to a full body sort of strength split. So for me, I've got hamstring curl and a hip adductor. So that's just going to fire everything up, get everything nice and stable, get my adductors working, and then I go into a barbell front squat. This for me is just obviously still building strength, but yeah, it sucks. But then I'm building just some strength into that position and getting to a point of, you know, being able to squat good depth, pain-free, and holding those positions, nice slow eccentrics with a pause. Then I've got some wall reference split squats. So basically what that is a split squat with your back foot pushed up against the wall. And then I'm actually rotating into that opposite side. So that's actually going to stretch out my glute. And that's opening up range through my hip there. And then I'm supersetting that with some hook lying dumbbell press. Hook lying is basically just one dumbbell at a time coming down and up. The reason for this is opening up through basically that chest, scaps, and rib cage as well. So it's getting more breath in there. You'll see people press, and I used to do this as well, where I just wouldn't be able to get the range without like my shoulder dipping forward or something happening. So this has really helped to sort of open up that range. I'm able to get really deep now. And again, I was having a lot of shoulder pain, and now no shoulder pain because, you know, everything moves effectively. Then I go into a prone dumbbell row. So basically like a chest supported row with the dumbbells, and then an overhead dumbbell press press with my feet up against the wall. Reason for my feet up against the wall is basically it's just going to straighten up my spine from that position as well, and enabled me to press effectively and create a bit more tension to sort of tuck my pelvis under a little bit there as well. So I'm not trying to anteriorly tilt the other way when I'm going overhead. Then I've just got some arms, so behind the back cable curls and tricep extensions, and then I've got just a trap bar isometric hold where I'll pick it up an inch off the ground and I'm just trying to hold that, and I'm trying to accumulate up to, I think it's about 2 minutes. Okay. At the moment I've got up to about like 55 seconds and I'm like dying. So I always find a point where it's like, okay, if I feel like my lower back's now starting to take over, that's when I'll drop the weight.
Do you do straps on them, or are you trying to use
just I'm literally using 40 kilos. So like it's literally light as anything, but it's just accumulating that hold in that position where that, and we've identified that's generally where my lower back will start to flare up.
Gotcha.
So if we're holding that position, it's going to be a bit better. Day 2, I've got conditioning. So using the assault bike. I don't have an assault bike, so I just use the normal bike. About 120, 140 BPM, basically 10 minutes as a warm-up. And then I'm doing some treadmill intervals. So level 12, I think it is. So it gets me about a K every 5 minutes. So sitting at about 70% of my max heart rate, which is perfect. Do that, rest 2.5 minutes, and I'll normally do some stretching and opening up in between each set of those. And that'll be my conditioning for the second day. Day 3, strength, so doing some pull-ups and incline bench supersets, get everything moving, trap bar deadlift and some alternating glute bridge presses. So with that, trying to squeeze, like almost imagine you're trying to hold a glute bridge and then you're pressing, again, very similar to what I was doing before, but this is just going to get the adductors and the glutes firing as well while I'm doing that, to try and hold that bridge position without overextending into my lower back. Then into just some seated hamstring curls to open up through the hamstrings, get some length there, and some Zercher squat iso holds, which again absolutely suck.
just hearing it out loud, I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, day 4 today I did conditioning plus some arms. So conditioning wise, ski erg, 3.5 Ks, just going at a sort of general pace. Normally takes me about 15 minutes. Then I've got some unilateral farmer's carry, so I'm basically just doing 10 minutes up and back, one side, 20 meters, other side, and I'm basically just walking at like a half decent pace, just keeping the heart rate again around probably that 120 to 140 zone 2. Then I have some arm supersets, so crossbody hammer curls, Tate press, which is when you're going in like that when you're using the triceps, and then some spider curls on the end of the bench. Do a triset of that, and then a triset of incline dumbbell curls, dumbbell skull crushers, and dumbbell pullovers as well. And that's just the arms into that. And then last day 5 is strength as well. So I'll start with some Cossack squats to open up through the adductors. Then again, we've got the trap bar deadlift and barbell bench press. So important to note with these supersets as well, I probably should have mentioned, I actually do have rest between these, so I'm not trap bar deadlifting then trying to bench press straight away. I'd fucking die. So it's like trap bar deadlift, rest 2 minutes, bench press, rest 2 minutes, going back and forth between those. Then I've got some Bulgarian split squats, supersetted with some prone hamstring curls, chest supported seated row, nice and heavy, 3 sets there. And then just some landmine press to get your scap moving, and also some hanging knee raises there. So probably sounds very, very different to Liam's program. Again, Liam's is more just going to be basically just hypertrophy. You want to get as big as possible. I also want to do that, but unfortunately, I don't have the range and I've got a few injuries and pain. So we're trying to open up ranges of motion. And once I have those ranges of motion, then we're just going to start pushing things further and further. And you will see me probably adopt more of a either push-pull or full body approach, where I'm able to just get in, get out. But I probably will still use, 1 or 2 of these things, like for example, a landmine press, single arm cable rows, things like that, just to keep scap moving and get you into positions where you're still able to, reach and sort of do all the right things there as well. So that's sort of, coming from my programming, what I do with that at the moment.
Awesome. I would just like to mention that during the day, do you have a step count that you have to hit?
Yeah, so at the moment, because when I'm dieting, I'll definitely have a step count. At the moment, I just sort of do incidental, and I'll just go out for a walk every afternoon. So at the moment, between 8 and 10 is normally what I get, including just walking with morning clients. So when I'm bulking, I'm not as worried, but I like to keep it around 8 at least, because I want to slowly bulk up. So we're looking at 0.25 kilo a week. Very slowly. But then obviously when I'm dieting, I just sort of bang them up as high as I possibly can, to be honest. So I'm like, the higher I can do them, the less time I can spend dieting personally, the better. But again, everyone's different and depends on how much weight you have to lose and all that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I keep mine high between 12,000 to 15,000, but purely just because I like eating food. Yeah. Not from a fat loss perspective. So that's one thing as well. I just find if I can time walking around certain meals, it not only helps me digest them, but just even from an energy standpoint, if I sit down for too long, I just start to actually fatigue. And walking just really helps sort of reset everything.
Yeah, I think that's, one tip we can probably give you around your training. It's like, if you're just training, then going home and just sitting there and doing nothing, it's like, you need to move. You need to be at least, doing a few, at least 5,000-6,000 steps a day. Like, do something, don't just sit on the couch, leave it under 2,000 steps. Because again, it's just from, a health standpoint, but also, again, if we can get blood flow moving more often, you're going to digest food better. Blood's going to shuttle around the muscles. You're probably going to, again, goes back to cardio, get better muscle growth. Things are just going to work more effectively. You're just going to be a better looking naked human in front of the mirror if you're more active, doing the right things, and then obviously, like we talked about, prioritizing your training. But does that sort of cover it? Do you have anything else to add with your training? Is there anything you're doing in the future, like that you're looking to do in terms of programming?
Honestly, I've been doing a similar style of programming like this for the past year, since like about May last year was when I really adopted it. I don't think I'll ever go back unless I, look into more research and data to see a more effective training program. But for what works for me right now, not only have I seen the best results in the last year that I have, but I've just found just so much enjoyment. Like, it's affected other areas of my life, right? Like, even on the previous podcast, we mentioned about sleep and everything. It's like, when I was training 4 or 5 days a week, weights resistance training, I used to have to try and sleep 10 hours a night. My body was still so tired. This one, measuring my recoverable volume, only doing like a certain amount of working sets and not going above and beyond in certain excess jump volume or anything like that, I'm sleeping like a baby, and I don't feel like I'm always in the gym now. Like, my whole life used to just revolved around what time my training, meals, everything like that. Now it's like I'm only lifting weights 3 times a week, and I'm getting the best results I've ever had. Like, for me, even from a sustainability standpoint, like if I know I'm going on holiday and I only have to train once or twice a week to maintain, it's just like, there's so much more to life, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, that's just what I want to let people know. It's like, find what works for you.
And one thing I think I didn't cover was just like in differences in our volume. Like, I'm generally doing potentially 3 or 4 sets. That doesn't mean I haven't done like what Liam's done. My last program was the 2 sets, the 5 to 7 reps, a lot of that. But this one, again, is more volume because, number one, I'm trying to spend more time in these areas. And number 2, the intensity isn't as high. So I will have some things where I might be pushing very close to failure, but you'll find a few things like, let's take the Cossack squats, for example. Like, I'm not pushing those to failure. I'm looking to sit into those positions, hold those positions and things like that. So I think it is important, like, if you guys don't know how to push yourselves and you can't push sets to right on failure, you're going to need more volume to get the same amount. And so that's just one thing that we need to clarify as well. But if you can get, like I said, I'd say at the minimum is like that 2 really good working sets. If you can do that really close to, if not on failure, you can progress that week on week, and you're seeing good, you're seeing the scale slowly go up, and you're seeing the progress slowly go up, then perfect. You probably don't need too much. But again, we're humans, multifaceted. I've got pain, I've got injuries. You might have a specific goal. Maybe you want to do.
Oh no, I've got pain and injuries. Don't worry.
But you might want to do a high rocks or something. And things will. Yeah, but, we don't want to do that. But like people's goals will change, is what I'm saying. So that is why people start with weightlifting, and after 10 years they're like, oh, I want to go do maybe powerlifting, and then it becomes I want to do more high rocks based stuff. It's just because, again,
it's always going to change.
Yeah, people's goals will want to change slightly, and there's nothing wrong. Like I said, with changing goals and not just doing everything like a bodybuilder as well, especially, as you got older, you might want to just train for more health and longevity. And like we're talking about with pain and things like that, you want to get to a point where you're able to solve that before you're just going balls to the wall and a heavy 5 if you've got pain.
I mean, people don't realize bodybuilding's a full-time job, right? Yeah. It literally is. And this is the thing, right? Like, we get a lot of our self-worth and body dysmorphia and stuff from our training and all that. And it's like, for me, the hardest battle was going from a 5-day training week program to I only get to lift weights 3 times throughout the week. That was actually a really mental battle for me. I'm like, how is less more? And then I actually found enjoyment from getting all that extra recovery and time in other things. And I found that actually helped as well. And that led me to doing Stairmaster 3 times a week. So I'm still obsessed and in the gym 6 times a week, right? But it's just still minimal from a volume standpoint. Yeah.
And I think on the other end of that, it's like, you can get really good results just going to the gym, twice to 3 times a week. If
Yep.
you can just prioritize that, you can still get some really good stuff. But I think like I said, on the topic of our programming, if you guys have any programming questions, especially if you're like, can one of you like come look over our split? Like, is this good for me? With what goal I'm doing, and if I've got all these sort of things, we are more than happy to help you guys out. So, like I said, feel free to contact me at Action Fitness Nutrition on Instagram, or Liam at Coach Liam C Murphy. But until next time, guys, hope you enjoyed the podcast. We will see you in the next episode.
See you guys.